Camera number 143 of 365 is the Canon EOS 300V. It's a camera that requires batteries to operate all its functions, being electronically controlled. So let's just go ahead and put some batteries into the camera. So there's two CR2 batteries that power the camera, and we place the positive outermost, just being careful to close the plastic door. The camera is predominantly plastic, which makes it very light. We see the very curved grip, which has the remote control sensor there and shutter button. I did actually find the grip quite good to use when using the camera. Makes the camera that much easier to use. So, take the lens off, we just press the lens release, and I've got fitted here probably a kit lens, 38 to 76mm Canon lens, again very plastic, very light. And then just turning our attention, we have our flash actuation button, a little port to fit a remote control which is electronic, our lens release and our preview button. So let's just put the lens back on. On the base we just have our battery compartment and tripod mount. And then turning our attention to the top plate, we have a button that has three functions. It cycles through single release, continuous release and self-timer. Now we can see that with the very dominant liquid crystal display. So by pressing the button we've got single release, press it again we've got self-timer, press it again we've got single release again and self-timer. For some reason it doesn't want to cycle through multiple release. There we go, okay. Obviously a fault in the camera, which is probably why it was so cheap. But that's what that button would do. And then all the functions can be seen on this liquid crystal, and you basically press a button and rotate the dial. So let's just run through those. So we have a light to illuminate our liquid crystal display. The function button allows us to go through our functions, and you either turn them off or turn them on with 0 or 1. So we've got red eye reduction, we've got a beeper, we've got, oops, oh I see, yes. Now that's interesting. Some of these functions are cancelled out depending on the program. So I've got it on kind of point and shoot program, and you're only limited to changing the ISO and the beeper. Whereas if we choose another program, let's go for aperture priority, presumably if we go into that we can now go into some other functions here, which if I remember rightly that's multiple exposure, where we can choose up to 9 exposures, and then if we press it again we have bracketing, where we can choose the maximum is 2 stops either way. The top button here, exposure compensation, which presumably won't work. Actually it will work, yes it does. There we go, yes it does. Yeah, there we go. And then on the top here we have a memory lock for exposure. So you just press it and it locks it in, and doesn't matter, and until you release the camera then the exposure is locked in. And then we can choose our points of focus. We can see the various focus points moving through there. So we can choose all of them or a few of them, or one of them rather, beg your pardon. It looks like there's 7 focus points there. Okay, turning to the top and the dial, we can cycle through A depth mode, where the camera will make sure that certain focus points, everything in between, is in focus. We have manual, aperture priority, shutter priority, program, another program mode. Presumably that program mode is shiftable. Yes, there we go. Whereas the green one isn't shiftable, I would think. Correct. Okay, and then we have portrait mode, landscape, macro, sports, nighttime, and no flash. Okay, I think that's all the functions there. We've gone through very quickly, but it certainly is a feature-laden camera, and hopefully the pictures will demonstrate its abilities. So that's camera number 143 of 365.